What a joy to welcome all of you this evening to Our Lady's Cathedral for this annual Sanctity of Life Mass. It's wonderful to see the cathedral full, standing room only. There are a few seats here in the front row, but there are Catholics, so empty. But it's truly rewarding to see so many of you who have not, especially so many young people, which has been the case each year for this annual event. We have a full church here tonight, but we also have, I dare say, hundreds more who are with us through the miracle of technology, streaming this Mass, this homily, this evening's events in satellite locations and parishes around the Archdiocese. So welcome all of you as well. I'm going to hit betray a secret, I suppose, regarding how old I am. But when I was a senior in high school, in 1973, the Supreme Court of the United States of America made an infamous decision that stripped legal protection of the right to life of a child in the womb. Since that time, over 40 years ago, upwards of 50 million innocent children have never lived to see the light of day. That national shame, that terrible crisis, that tremendous waste and squandering of God's gift of life is what brings us together this evening, as it does every year, to celebrate, to pray for, a renewed respect for the gift of life from conception to its natural end. This evening we are especially mindful, of course, of the terrible loss of life due to legal abortion in our nation and the terrible exporting of that crime against humanity around the world through the influence of a certain elite class of individuals who are the enemies of life. We are the friends of life, and that's what brings us together, and that's what motivates us year after year, after year, after year, after year, after year, and will continue to motivate us until this terrible national shame has been undone. There's no question that abortion is the preeminent justice issue facing our society, our culture, our nation. It is not the only justice issue, but the sheer magnitude of this issue, where more than 50 million innocents have been sacrificed, demands a response from us and a renewed commitment to the advocates for life. To be advocates for life. And that's what brings us together tonight, to remind ourselves of the precious gift that has been placed within our hands, this gift of life, and to pray for the grace to deepen our appreciation for and our commitment to preserving, protecting, and yes, advocating for the sanctity of life and the protection of all human life, from conception to its natural end. As Catholics, principle in theology reminds us that we are not an either-or people. We are both and people. It's not faith or works, it's faith and works. It's not grace or nature, it's grace and nature. And the same can be applied to the many, many justice issues about nature. We must be well informed and indeed be passionate in order that we might be effective witnesses for the sanctity of life. Not just this life or that life, not just this kind of life or that kind of life, not just the life of an unborn child, not just the life of a migrant, not just the life of a person on death row, but all life. God has placed within each one of us an inalienable dignity, the dignity of each and every human person that we hear about in the first reading. The account of creation reminds us that God has created us in His image and in His likeness. That's what gives our lives priceless value. It's not the state that bestows dignity and value upon us. It's not the government. It's our Creator. And life is given to us in trust. As we prayed in the opening collect, we are stewards of this gift of life. And it is our responsibility to receive that gift gratefully, to protect and preserve and to cultivate it, not just for ourselves, but for others, especially the least of our brothers and sisters, those who cannot protect and speak for themselves. And that, of course, begins with the voiceless, the unborn. But it doesn't end there. This afternoon, I conducted an interview at the chapel at the Catholic Pastoral Center on a piece of legislation that is being proposed in the Oklahoma State Legislature that will outlaw the death penalty in Oklahoma. This is a life issue as well. Perhaps not as clear to many people as the issue of abortion, but nonetheless a clear issue that demands our attention to protect and to preserve the inalienable dignity of every human life. We don't forfeit the dignity that is God's gift to us when we have committed a terrible sin, do we? Otherwise, why go to confession? We don't forfeit the gift of human dignity should we commit a terrible crime. Our human dignity must be protected and preserved because it's not earned, it's given to us. And we believe in the dignity of life, and we believe that no matter what we may do with the gift of life, how far we may fall, we believe in redemption. We believe that the Father sent His Son, Jesus, who took on our human flesh and became one of us in order to redeem us and to restore us to relationship with God and to heal the wounds of sin and division within our culture, within our society, within our world. So we are a both-and people. Yes, we are in favor of protecting and preserving, defending the gift of lives of the unborn children, but also the lives of the migrant who lives without legal protection, very often asylum seekers, refugees, so exposed to danger. And every turn, the lives of the elderly, the infirm, the lives of those who live with disabilities. We have marvelous ministries throughout our archdiocese that draw attention to the dignity of life. Beautiful pro-life ministries that advocate for the unborn. Beautiful pro-life ministries that provide services at pregnancy resource centers, like Willow, for example. We have pro-life ministries like the Gospel of Life dwellings that remind us of the sanctity, the beauty, the dignity of the aged, the infirm, and indeed even the dying. Every life has value, doesn't it? Every life has dignity.
I'm so grateful for those people who undertake these often hidden ministries and forms of witness in defense of life. I think of the people who visit the incarcerated around our state, throughout our archdiocese, perhaps especially those on death row. To be witnesses for the dignity, the sanctity of life, every life, from conception to its natural end. We say that again and again. To work for peace in our world, an end to the violence of war and the threat of terror. These are all life issues. You know, we have different access points, don't we, by which we might come to be awakened to the value of life, the dignity of life, the importance of protecting life. For some, it might be particularly among young people today. A beautiful ecological awareness that many others do not have. St. Francis has been teaching about this, as did Pope Benedict before him, about the importance of protecting our common home, protecting this creation, this beautiful environment that God has given us against its being spoiled in a way that deprives future generations for the quality of a place to live and flourish that God has intended for all people. For others, it certainly is an awareness and a shocking need to do something about protecting the unborn children who live without any legal protection in our society. For others, it might be working to enhance and to protect and to respond to the needs of people with developmental disabilities, as at the Center for Family Love in Okarchi. We have all of these different ways of coming to an awareness of the dignity of life, the sanctity of life, and the need to do something, to get engaged, to be a part of the solution, to be witnesses to life, to be advocates for life. What is it that the Lord has placed upon your heart? How is the Lord calling you to be a witness to the dignity of life? It's not as if all of these issues are equally grave or equally important. But we can't discount any life, not the least of our brothers and sisters, and certainly not the most vulnerable. So this evening, as we come together in faith to pray to God in thanksgiving for the gift of life, and to give us the grace to be His hands, His feet, His heart, His voice, to speak up and speak out, to reach out, to protect and defend the lives of our brothers and sisters, particularly the most vulnerable and those who have no voice of their own. Someday, perhaps, it'll no longer be necessary to hold an event like this that we celebrate tonight here, or similar ones throughout the country, the March for Life in Washington or in California, which has become such a magnet for young people especially. But for now, your witness, your presence, your voices, your prayers are critically important. So I thank you for being here tonight. I thank you for being a part of this pro-life generation that speaks up and speaks out in defense of the most vulnerable. May God continue to pour His grace and blessings upon all of you, upon all of us, upon our state, upon our nation, upon our world, that our eyes will be open, our hearts will be open to receive, to protect, and to preserve the beautiful gift of life.